This is Edge of the Box, a podcast brought to you by WhoScored.com.
Hello, welcome back to the Edge of the Box podcast, a podcast by WhoScored.com in association with Bet Victor. I'm your host, Dan Bardell, here to preview all the weekend's Premier League action, joined by WhoScored's very own Martin Laurens. And this week, a big substitution in for Jonathan Wilson. We've got top journalist Julien Laurens with us, Martin. Got a good selection of journalists going on, haven't we? We do well.
We do, yeah. We don't do bad. We'll get the little contact book out every now and again.
Yeah,
I know Julien vaguely from playing football and him just embarrassing everyone there. So yeah, I thought
that was a long time ago, man.
It was. Everyone asks like who's like because played football with plenty of different journalists. It's like who's the best one? It's like probably Julien. Any of the foreign journalists are basically better than the English.
I remember that day where you turned up with your Marseille kit, and I was like, no, that's not. So that even made me more motivated as a PhD fan myself. So I was like, I'll have him.
I was this close to putting my PSG top on this morning. Actually, I was so close to doing it. I was gonna do it. I'm surprised you don't say that I'm the best media person you've played football with, Martin.
I feel like we've played once, and you were in goal. And you didn't have a lot to do, so
as an outrageous statement, we won the tournament, and I would say I was a massive part of that. And I would say actually having the goalkeeper was the reason we won that tournament. That was what I would say, but never mind. Julian's obviously gone down better than me. Martin, let's start this week's podcast then with the team of the week. Who's made it in this week?
So it's Nick Pope in goal after backing up a really strong performance against West Ham as well and getting that point. So that's 4 points from the last 6 for Burnley, giving them some life. Didn't actually have a whole lot to do against Southampton. Burnley were as dominant as Burnley can be, I think. Played really well and played without, as if they didn't have too much pressure. So yeah, he made 4 saves, kept a clean sheet in that game. The right back is becoming a joke because he's there almost every week, but usually on the left. It's João Cancelo for Man City after their 3-0 win against Brighton. The centre backs are Nathan Collins, who scored in that 2-0 win for Burnley last night, and Virgil van Dijk, who again didn't have a huge amount to do against Manchester United, but he's the first of 5 Liverpool players after their 4-0 win over United in the week. So Andy Robertson is the left back. And then, as you might be able to predict, the front 3 are all there. So we've got Mo Salah on the right, 2 goals and an assist. Luis Diaz on the left, a goal and an assist. And Sadio Mane, who we'll come on to later, with a goal and an assist, really leading the line superbly for Liverpool at the moment. In midfield, Thiago actually was in there. Bit disappointed he just dropped out after last night. Josh Brownhill. What chance does he have?
Not made the team of the week.
I know. What chance does he have against Josh Brownhill, though? Let's be honest. 2 assists for Josh Brownhill last night. 1 before that all season. So, yeah, a revelationary performance from him. He's joined in midfield by Bruno Guimaraes, who got his first assist for Newcastle. I've sort of waxed lyrical about him on the last episode. Just looks like the player that Newcastle thought they were getting, that they were going to build this team around. And he just does everything. He's just a joy to watch, and the sort of player that Newcastle fans in particular are going to absolutely adore. And Mane is joined up front by Eddie Nketiah after his brace in the obviously excellent win at Stamford Bridge. So, yeah, that's the 11 from the midweek matches.
You've gone around the houses with that team. We've gone.
I have a little bit. I've done it a bit.
Strikers back to midfield.
Yeah.
What are we playing here?
Well, I just wanted to get through the Liverpool players, get them out of the way.
Julian, have you always been a big fan of Josh Brownhill over Thiago?
Well, what's not to like about Josh Brownhill, to be fair? And Thiago is so overrated anyway. Even after that performance on Tuesday, where I think he was so good, but he didn't think that Josh Brownhill would come and nick his place in the Who Scored team of the week. So, Thiago, there's still a lot of things you need to learn about this country.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, let's get some social content on about that, really try and G Thiago up a little bit. He needs to do a little bit more, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Let's start looking at the games then for the week. And the first one that we're going to look at is Arsenal v Manchester United, the Danny Welbeck derby. Big week, Julian, for Manchester United. I mean, it's the worst kept secret in football, let's face it. But Erik ten Hag has been announced as the manager. He's got a huge job on his hands. One of the first things that he's going to have to deal with potentially is Paul Pogba. What do you think is going to happen there? Should he try and even convince him to stay? Should Manchester United try and build their team around Pogba again, or should they just cut their losses and off he goes?
I think it's a great question, really. You would think if you look at the best version of Paul Pogba, which I know we haven't seen many often at United, but you would think, okay, this could work. Even at 29, he turned 29 last month, and obviously being 30 in the season that Ten Hag is going to arrive, you think, okay, the way Ten Hag is going to have that team playing, you would think is quite similar to what we've seen at Ajax with a Ryan Gravenberch, for example, someone like that, who has similar qualities to Paul Pogba. The thing is, I'm not sure right now if Ten Hag sees the best of Paul Pogba, and maybe he's right, and maybe it would be too much of a gamble to try to build that team around Pogba and giving it this key role, because I do think that the midfield three, whoever they will be for Ten Hag next season at United, will be the key, maybe more than the back four and more than the one up front. So that midfield, and if you look at it already now, the players that they're scouting, the players that they linked with, the ones that they have already spoken to, are mostly in midfield. This is clearly the area where Ten Hag must have said, this is where we have to invest now, and this is the first part of the big rebuilding job that awaits for him. So will Pogba be part of it? I would love to see it, because I think it could work. I have a feeling that the end is soon now for him, and that he will go somewhere else for a new chapter in his career, and maybe that will be the right move.
Yeah, I mean, Ralph Rangnick said after the last game, Martin, that Manchester United in the summer, they're probably going to need 7, 8, or maybe even 10 players. So there's a massive, huge rebuild coming there, and bringing in that volume of players. It's not easy for any manager to come in and do anything with that. I don't think even if he's bringing in his own players, it's hard to merge a squad together and get a squad firing. But if you look at the players that are currently there, perhaps Fernandes, but I can't see anyone that he's looking at that's currently there and he will think, yes, I can build my team around that guy.
Well, Donny van der Beek's laughing, isn't he? He fancies a game. He
still won't get a game. Donny van der Beek can't get a game anywhere ever again. It doesn't matter where he is.
I think they'll keep high hopes for Sancho. I think he's come on and improved as the season's gone on. We still haven't seen anywhere near his best, I don't think, but has improved as the season's gone on and looked like one of their brighter players. So there's definitely still hope for him. The defence is a rewrite, in my opinion. I think those quotes where he said so many players that needed to come in were maybe not mistranslated, but misunderstood, in the sense that he was kind of talking about how Liverpool have taken 4, 5, 6 years to get to the point that they are. And I kind of feel like that's what he meant. Like there'll probably be 10 new players in place before Manchester United look like a functional side again, which I think is probably fair. I think Julien made an interesting point about Gravenberch, and it's obviously quite sort of basic to say, but obviously managers do look at players that they've worked with in the past, and he's one that I agree does have a similar profile to Pogba. So if you are looking for a replacement there, then there are players at Ajax that Ten Hag will surely be thinking, might be an upgrade. I think they'll be looking at a right back this summer. Nusem Mazraoui looks like he's going to go to Bayern, but he's on a free, so be surprised if they didn't make an inquiry at least. I think his agent's Mino Raiola, so that's maybe a blocker to that. But yeah, they've got a big job at hand, and I agree. The midfield needs work. I feel like someone like Fred is maybe someone who will stick around and has proven under Rangnick at least that he can do a job. Certainly not a player to rebuild around, but it's not like they can just get rid of everyone in one summer. So there are players that will sort of need to bridge those gaps, and he's one of those players, I think. But there aren't a huge amount who you'd want to do that at this stage. Yeah,
and Julien, a big result for Arsenal midweek against Chelsea. Every time I'm horrible about them, they seem to win. And every time I'm nice about them, they seem to completely let me down. But big result at Stamford Bridge. It was a crazy game. It was very low on quality at times, especially in the first half, actually, that game. But they went there, they got the result, and they put themselves firmly back in the mix. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they made less mistakes than Chelsea, and that's why they won the game. If you want to sum it up pretty quickly, that's the way. I thought I was at the game, and I really thought that off the ball, which is for me where they've improved the most. With the ball as well, there's some lovely stuff that they're doing, and sometimes I think the quality of some players in some position let down a little bit the tactical structure that Arteta has put together.
And if there were better players there, I think they would be even better than what they've been at times in some games this season. But for me, off the ball, in the way they press and in the way they organized is the big difference. And he certainly, I thought, was on show at Stamford Bridge, because I know Chelsea scored 2 goals. The first one is a huge deflection, the Timo Werner one, and the second one, I think White is trying to get the foul, doesn't get the foul, and then it's a good cross by Mount, and Azpilicueta finishes well, because Nuno is still learning to defend, let's be honest here. But I thought, apart from that, they defended really well. They didn't give Lukaku too much, or Havertz when he came on. There was a few crosses and a few heated situation in the Arsenal box, but I thought they did so well to go to Stamford Bridge and defend the way they did. So off the ball, I was very impressed. Again, the way they press, they work a lot on counter press, especially, and I think this is paying off. And it was a big win because it came after 3 defeats that maybe we didn't really see coming. The one at Crystal Palace, they didn't turn up, full stop. I think the one against Brighton, Arteta will take that one for himself, because he got it wrong in the starting 11 and Xhaka left back and all of that. And then the Southampton one, Fraser Foster turned into a mix of Neuer, Oblak, and Alisson and Ederson all together. And that was it, really. But that was huge. Yeah, that was huge for the race of top 4. But also, I think psychologically, just to be able to go to Chelsea, the European champions, and get a win like that, I think would be a big boost.
I watched the game, but you were obviously there, and I think you can see a bit more, obviously, when you're live at the ground. How much of a difference did Eddie Nketiah make playing up front? Because he hasn't had much of a run this season at all. And when Lacazette plays, he tends to drop deep and pick up the ball, but Nketiah actually stretched Chelsea more. He's got that pace in behind. But how much of a different side did they look with him up there instead of Lacazette?
I turned into Ronaldo, like Brazilian Ronaldo. It was crazy. I was like, this is the game of his life. I know he got a bit lucky on 2 goals he scored, because Christensen's pass, was atrociously bad, and then there's a bit of luck as well on the second goal, in the way the ball just pinballs everywhere, but then he's still there to poke it in. But everything is just the movement, like you said, stretching them. We saw that on the first goal, that Nuno Tavares is just hopeless and just hoof the ball, but the way Nketiah chases it, but he's done that all through the first hour, let's say. Even I thought his back to goal and the way he held up the ball, he made a mistake on the Chelsea first goal, because I think he played that one touch too quickly. The ball then is lost, and then Werner scores. But I thought he was really, really good. And I'm a bit like a fan, because I'm completely biased, of course. But I thought he was really good, better than I expected him to be in a game like this. And maybe it's a shame we haven't seen that version of him more often this season. Even you can come on for the last 20 minutes of a Premier League game and have that kind of impact. Still, you don't have to start to play that well. So I think that's a bit of a shame. I don't know what will happen to him next season. I think he has qualities, maybe not for a top 6 club, but certainly in the Premier League. So it'd be very interesting. But he turned halfway through the game. There was a guy sat next to me from beIN Sport, and I said, "My God, this is the game of his life." It was really outstanding.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he gets a run now. I think he'll probably play against Manchester United, but he's either going to put himself in the shop window or make it so that Arsenal are desperate to keep him. So it could be an interesting end of the season for him. But Martin, Arsenal are in the situation where they could go into the summer with no strikers on the books. So they're going to need at least 2 strikers to come in. But I'm not really sure, looking around, where those strikers are coming from, especially a proven one.
You just alluded to it there, that Nketiah and Lacazette are completely different strikers as well. And I think they'll look for that. If they do go for 2 new strikers, they will be looking for points of difference, really, because as much as Lacazette's finishing's been found wanting this season in particular, there is no question that Arsenal improved quite dramatically when he came into the team after all the problems with Aubameyang, just because his link-up play is very good, and he is a selfless player. He's an absolute pest to defenders, and that's worked really well for that sort of high intensity approach that they've began to adopt. And he's had a huge play in that, because it does start at the front, and Nketiah sort of did that himself against Chelsea. So they need that sort of striker or forward for one. But yeah, they are obviously they're linked with quite a lot. They've been linked with Alexander Isak for quite a long time. Personally, I don't rate him that highly. I think he's more of a dribbler, really. Not an amazing finisher or hold-up sort of striker. If you're looking at a goal scorer, then I think the one that everyone will be looking at, and may well be out of Arsenal's reach, will be Darwin Núñez this summer. somebody's got to get Christopher Nkunku. Completely different type of player, but direct-handed 30 goals. He's been underrated for so long. Just a brilliant player, and obviously he's more of a sort of playmaker type player who's now started playing up front. But if you look at what Lacazette does in terms of bringing others into play, he might be an interesting option to look at. There are a few, I think, closer to home. They were linked with Calvert-Lewin for quite a while. He's obviously had a really, really tough season. I'd look at someone like Ivan Toney as probably a better bet now than him in terms of a similar profile if they were looking for that target striker type thing. But I don't really see that as an Arsenal signing.
No.
So, yeah, there's a few options. I really like, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but I've watched him for a couple of seasons now. Another player who's completely underrated in France. And Julian can rip me apart for the pronunciation of this, but Amine Gouiri of Nice. I feel like he's got a lot of assets, and another player who's been overlooked for a long time. Really powerful runner with the ball. Not the best finisher, but links up play well as well. He's an intelligent player, so he's someone who I think someone's got to take a chance on soon enough. He's had a bit of a dry spell of late, but yeah. But yeah, there are options out there for sure, but all very different. I think it'll be interesting to see where they go.
If you hadn't said the club afterwards, I would have had absolutely no idea who you were talking about. It could have been anyone.
It was a 50%, green light, because Gouiri, you said it right.
Did I?
It's the first name. Yeah, you put an accent on.
Amine. I knew there wasn't an. Is it just Amine?
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, not too bad. I mean,
I'm surprised at which one I got right of those, because
well done, Martin.
all the vowels in the surname is tough.
I think the one that got away really for Arsenal was Vlahovic, wasn't it? I think he would have been a super signing for Arsenal. Obviously gone to Juve and done well so far, but yeah, I think they'll regret missing out on him in the future. We have a combined 11, Martin, everyone's favourite segment of previewing a match. What's the Arsenal v Manchester? What's the ratio first? Tell me the ratio.
What's the ratio?
Before we get into
Good question.
Well, let me have a guess. I want to have a guess first.
Okay.
Julian, have you done the team as well?
Yeah, I've done one as well.
You've done a team as well.
The ratio is brutal, I have to be honest.
Okay, so I'm going to suggest the who scored ratio is probably 6-5 to Arsenal. And if yours is brutal, I'm going to go 9-2 to Arsenal.
Yeah, well, pretty close. It's actually it's more brutal on the who scored side as well. It's 7-4, which isn't brutal. Okay. I think that's completely fair. We've based this on players that will be available for this weekend, and lined it up in a 4-2-3-1. So we've got Ramsdale in goal, which might be a bit of a bone of contention. De Gea is obviously one of the United players who's actually had a passable season. But Ramsdale, he's dipped off a bit of late, but had an excellent start to the season, particularly. So he's our goalkeeper. The back four, Tomiyasu.
Sorry to cut you up completely.
Go on.
Should he have saved that deflected goal? I put on Twitter that he should, and I got a very mixed reaction.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? I feel like he could have. It was a long way away, wasn't it? He had time to react, and But yeah, he has dipped off of late. He had that injury, didn't he? He had a little injury, and he missed a game, and I think he's come back and not been quite the same level. But yeah, still Ramsdale for us. We've got Tomiyasu at right back, who is coming back to fitness.
Good.
He's a doubt, but could feature this weekend. White and Gabriel are the centre back pairing, perhaps unsurprisingly. The left back, because Tierney is out, we've got Alex Telles, because I think Nuno Tavares has struggled, to put it kindly. The two in midfield is one that Jonathan would pick apart, because it is Scott McTominay, who's also a doubt, but I feel like he was on the bench, hadn't trained in the week, but I feel like he has to play just because Pogba's now out. So McTominay, and it's Ødegaard who will have a lot of work to do in there, but has played in it.
I was going to say he has played there this season.
He has played there, so I'll get away with it. And then the three behind Cristiano Ronaldo is Saka, Fernandes, Smith Rowe.
So it's very similar. I didn't get the full memo on only players available. So
that's fair. Nobody ever does, to be fair. I change it every week.
Martin says will do a lot of things before he sends the script over and the notes, and he doesn't do them. I asked him to do something, and he's done it once. He did it once out the blue.
Well, I don't think I even got a thank you for it. So there you go.
Okay.
It's all about manners then.
Okay.
So I've got Tierney. Without Tierney, if we only pick, I would have put Telles. Although I'm still very skeptical on the defensive side of his game, of course. And then Bruno, Saka, Odegaard, all that is good. Cristiano, I've had it. The rest of the back four is the same. Keeper is the same. There's something about Xhaka, and I saw the ratings on WhoScored, and I understand them in a way, or I understand the rating. There's something that we can't rate, of course, is how important he is as a relay to Arteta on the pitch. And again, we go back to the game on Wednesday night and being so close to the bench, because where we sit at Stamford Bridge, we're very, very lucky to be so close to the two benches, depending on what side of the tunnel you sit. And it was unreal to watch the chemistry between Xhaka and Arteta from bench side to wherever Xhaka was on the pitch. It was, at times it almost looked like telepathy. They just look at each other, and Arteta does like a little wave with his hand, and Xhaka knows exactly what that means, what to do, and what to tell the other 10 Arsenal players on the pitch. It's fabulous to watch. Whether you like Xhaka or not, whether you think that he's a hot-headed too much or actually a really good player, whatever. I have to say I'm a big fan, so I would have found a way of putting Xhaka in that team.
That's fair.
I'm not his biggest fan, but I would have him in over McTominay. Yeah, I have a few thoughts on McTominay that I'm not going to say. I have got a few thoughts. Let's do our score predictions then for this one. Martin, what do the WhoScored guys predict?
We've gone for 2-1 to Arsenal this week.
2-1 to Arsenal, Julian?
Yeah, I agree for an Arsenal win. So maybe... 2-1 is fair. I think maybe 3-1. I just think they're too good, especially at home. I don't think they can get pressed too much by United, who try sometimes to press, can't do it, don't know how to do it. Even when they do it in a 4-4-2 formation, it doesn't work either. I don't think they've got the intensity or the legs. So I think if Arsenal are on their game, they should go and win this one.
So was that 2-1 or 3-1? We have to have.
Oh, sorry. Oh my God, sorry. 3-1.
3-1. Yeah, we've got a big league table going on, and you're filling in for Jonathan. Although Jonathan's bottom, isn't he? Out of the three of us.
Yeah, he's languishing.
Is he finished? Yeah, I think he's finished. I've gone for Arsenal 2, Manchester United 0. Let's look now at the Joe Cole derby. It's Chelsea versus West Ham. Julian, you were at the game, as we know, Chelsea v Arsenal. One of their strengths at the start of the season was that defence. Even when they were rotating, whoever they put in, they just looked like a solid unit. That's kind of gone away a little bit now, and they did look a little bit all over the place against Arsenal. And if we don't know Rudiger's future, if he was to depart, him not being there was a troubling look into Chelsea's backline future.
We were talking about the United midfield earlier. This is where the focus will be. Because not only you're going to lose Rudiger, you're going to lose Christensen as well. And by the way, Christensen is already gone. He's on the beach in Barcelona. I don't know why he keeps playing. He keeps being played and started by Tuchel, because it's clearly, I think psychologically, I'm sure he wants to do well for Chelsea and finish the season as well as he can and win the FA Cup, blah, blah, blah. Of course he does. We all do. But he's not there. And I don't know why he starts ahead of Chalobah, for example, who I think would have far more to play for than someone like Christensen, who's already signed a contract with Barcelona. So I'm struggling a bit there. But yeah, they will have to replace them too. Plus, in a way, Azpilicueta, who was still good. He's a good player. But I thought what was really telling on Wednesday is that they started with Reece James as the right-sided centre-back in the three, and Azpilicueta the right wing-back. And then they changed because one, for me, it's wasted to put Reece James there in a game like that. And two, Azpilicueta, despite the goal that he scored, which was a really good goal, can't play in that right wing-back position. Certainly not at that kind of level against a really good team. So that was really telling. They need to find a way. I mean, Thiago Silva is a wonderful human being, very handsome man, whatever you want to call him, and he reads the game better than anybody else. The anticipation is wonderful, the ball at his feet, but he's 37. And there will be a time where he won't be able to play even in the back three anymore, at the top level. So I think there's a lot for them to work on in the summer. Whoever you want to go and get, Koundé, for example, and Declan Rice for your midfield, whatever you want to do, but they will have to invest heavily. And more worryingly, I think that doesn't look good for the end of the season either, because West Ham, as you know, is so physical that they will go to Stamford Bridge and thinking, you know what, we can go and cause them a lot of problems by just being very aggressive and very physical on a very wobbly defense currently.
And Martin, talking of handsome men coming to you, it's a shame Josh isn't there this week, isn't it?
Very good.
Thank you. I just wanted to get that one in. But talking of Chelsea's defence, I was reading something yesterday about the defensive situation, and actually, they're in a bit of disarray there with players coming to the end of the contract, players coming to the end of their career. You look at two of the centre-backs that have left them in the last couple of years, Tomori, Gaye.
Yeah.
That suddenly doesn't look clever at all.
To allow both of those to leave, I think, is a big mistake. Like Tomori had a really good loan spell as well at AC Milan. Well, I'm sure they did consider keeping him, but yeah, like he's a very, very good centre-back. One that got away for sure, and I think Gerhi's looks similar as well. I think if you look at it, those two are better than Chalobah and Sarr, respectively. And they're going to be not stuck with Chalobah and Sarr, but those two are going to have a role to play moving forwards where perhaps you wouldn't have expected in the past. I know they've got high hopes for Levi Colwill, who's on loan at Huddersfield. He may well come back, but he's only 19. So, and I think the point that Julien made, that there's not really been any foresight in terms of planning for the future without these centre-backs, and Christensen's obviously more of an issue because he is gone. Rudiger perhaps not yet, but it does look that way. And Rudiger is, while they've rotated the entire team, really, Rudiger's been the one constant pretty much all season. He started 47 of a possible 54 games. That's 11 more starts than any other outfielder at Chelsea. So to see them without him was a concern, and like the fact that they haven't seen that really to this point perhaps was masking the problems that they could face in the future.
Yeah, let's just talk about Timo Werner a little bit, Julian. Bit of a revival in the last month or so. I always watch him and think there's definitely something there. He was so good at Leipzig, and I watch his movement at Chelsea, and I think there is a good player there. Just perhaps Chelsea hasn't suited him, and he has missed a few chances. He's also had times where he's been really unlucky. But it does feel a little bit like his luck's turned in recent weeks.
Yeah, and the confidence. I think he's typically, I know it's a bit of a cliche when we say it, but he's such a confidence player in the sense that if he feels like, people believe in him, trust him, people within the dressing room, within the team, then I think the changes it all. I don't think he takes the shot that ends up as a goal against Arsenal, the first one on Wednesday night, 2 months ago, for example.
Yeah,
I think he takes another touch, maybe comes back, maybe lays the ball to Mount or, Loftus-Cheek or whoever, Conte, whoever is there. But I don't think he takes the shot. And the confidence, but there's far more swag when he plays, although in the second half against Arsenal, he tries a shot with his left foot, and he goes way into the stands or on the North Circular. And I'm like, okay, this is still the old Timo Werner. He's still very much there, but there's been an improvement with the confidence. I think the slight tweak in formation with Man playing more centrally and Werner almost as a second striker next to Lukaku on Wednesday, or Havertz more often than not, has helped. We saw that against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu where he was really good because I think he had more people around him. It's harder for him on his own up front. It's harder for him when he's on the right or on the left. And I think this suits him better. I don't think he can score 25 goals for Chelsea like he did for Leipzig in the last season in the Bundesliga. But I certainly think that he can do better than what he did in the last 12 months, let's say, before, as you said, the revival in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, and West Ham, we've talked about Chelsea's issues at centre-back, Martin. West Ham have got a few problems going into this one. No Zuma, no Diop, no Ogbonna. Who is joining Dawson at centre-half? Do you think they might actually end up playing a back three, Creswell on the left, Dawson in the middle, and then, I don't know, Ben Johnson perhaps on the right side of centre-half and just going three at the back against Chelsea or what?
I think it's the only other alternative to Declan Rice dropping into
You
defense.
wouldn't want to pull Rice back.
No, you wouldn't. Of course you wouldn't. So I don't think that happens, but obviously he can do it. He came through as a centre-back, so it is an option that they have. But I agree, it looks like a game where they would be suited to them going to that back three. It's just a case of, obviously, Cresswell's done it a couple of times this season and played on the left of a three. Who does it on the right? I guess you're looking at Johnson or Soufal, aren't you? So
yeah,
whether there's any proof that they can do that, that would worry me. Certainly up against Werner. Now he's in form. I think Havertz will come back in. on Werner, I think he's playing in his position now. I think he's a centre forward. I think with players like that, when they're so quick, a lot of the time you can think, oh, mate, he'll do a job wide, and he came through as a winger, but he only really sort of fulfilled his potential as a centre forward. He's never been an elite level finisher, even though he scored plenty of goals in the Bundesliga. Like you said, it's his movement. He's a handful. He always causes problems, and his sort of creativity, maybe not creativity, but his ability to link up front is underrated as well. He's got 10 assists when he's played up front for Chelsea in 34 starts as a centre forward. He's got 10 assists. That's really good, and he's won 4 penalties as well on top of that. So when you add those together, that's actually more than the goals he scored. So he does offer something, and I think if you look at Germany, like he's the first choice striker for Germany now, under Hansi Flick, who clearly trusts him. So he gets that role over Havertz most of the time. So yeah, he's looking a problem. And for this game where West Ham are sort of all at sea at the back, he could continue that form, I think.
This could be an interesting combined 11 then, in terms of who's playing at the back. Julien, we'll do your team first this time. Who have you plumped for?
So taking on board Nader's level, So because I went with Chilwell at left back, whose ratings is I think the best of the Chelsea squad this season, but obviously So in goal, I had a bit of a dilemma because I've known Lucas Fabianski for almost the 70s I've been here. We're good friends, but so is Mendy. So again, I'm completely biased here. I don't know what to go for. Major man up. I didn't even actually look at ratings. I put Mendy down. I know he's been a bit shaky lately, and we saw that again against Arsenal. I still think that overall, Mendy should be in goals. I've got Reece James at right back, Thiago Silva, Rudiger, even if Rudiger is a doubt. Centre backs, and then Cresswell at left back, and then I went 4-3-3. I'm not sure if I'm allowed.
Do whatever you want to.
Who scored pick all kinds of formations that don't make sense? So you can.
Okay, fair enough. Then I've had Kovacic, Rice, and Souček as my 3.
That's a nice midfield.
That's a nice midfield, I thought. Yeah. And then the front 3 right now are Bowen, Havertz, and Mount. So no Werner. But then Martin almost kind of convinced me that Werner should be there somewhere, so I can play with 12 and have Werner and Havertz central, and then Mount and Bowen on each side.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Go on then, Martin. What two scored cobbled together?
Well, Werner's not in ours either. His form has picked up. He's picked up too late to make it into this side based on our ratings. It is Mendy in goal. Reece James right back, Silva centre back with Chalobah, based on the fact that we've excluded injured players. So it's Alonso at left back for us. The midfield would have been the exact same, but Kovacic is out as well. So Kante comes in for him alongside Souček and Rice. And we've got the same front 3, we've just put Mount in behind Bowen and Havertz, but take your pick.
Big shouting coming from me. I would have put Fabianski in goal over Mendy. You can tell him next time you see him. You can tell him.
Julian's put me off saying anything about Mendy because I'm not his biggest fan. But
I think Fabianski
I'm not going to bring it up this week.
Fabianski is one of the most reliable goalkeepers in the Premier League and has been for a number of years. I actually think West Ham have got the best goalkeeping department in the Premier League, arguably, with him and Areola.
Yeah, what a sub!
That's a great goalkeeping area for them. So yeah, you can tell him next time you see him that he'll have absolutely no idea who I am, but he'll be pleased to know that I rate him. Surely. Let's have predictions for this one then. Martin, who scored?
We have got 1-1 for this game.
1-1. Julien?
Yeah, same for me, 1-1.
1-1. I've gone big because I'm top of the league. I like to make a big shout every week.
Wow.
I've gone for Chelsea 1, West Ham 3. I think Chelsea conceded 11 goals in the last 3 home games in all competitions. So they're shipping at home. They didn't look good at the back the other night.
3 home defeats in a row. So if you count Brentford, Real Madrid, obviously, and then the Arsenal one for the first time in 28 years, I think it's 1993 or something like that. The last time, or 29 years, something.
Yeah, it felt a strange place. Stamford. I wasn't there, but it felt like a strange place.
Really
empty seats and stuff because of the current situation. It just didn't feel right. Yeah, I think they could have a tricky time against West Ham, although the injuries could play a part for West Ham in that back line. That could help Chelsea. Let's look now at Liverpool v Everton, the Merseyside derby. And I'm going to come to you first, Martin, because I think I disagree with this, but it's more of a statement than a question. Sadio Mane, now Liverpool's best number 9.
I think he's been outstanding playing that role since he's come back from AFCON. I think he's been brilliant. I think he's almost merged the best parts of Firmino and Jota in that role. Like his finishing's gone up a level, and that pass around the corner for Salah, that's a Firmino pass.
Incredible.
He's been watching that for the last few seasons. So his link up's been really, really good. He started. I'm gonna prove you. I'm gonna dismantle you, Dan.
Okay, I look forward to it.
So he started 8 games as a centre forward since coming back from AFCON for Liverpool. They've won 7, drawn 1, and scored 22 goals. Mane's got 8 of those goals himself. Only 11 goals from starting out wide this season, which was from 29 games, I think. So 8 in 8. Obviously, that was actually his first assist playing that role, but what an assist. His touches, I think this shows the way that Liverpool play. His touches have gone up substantially playing that centre-forward role. 60 per 90 now, up from just under 50 per 90. Shots are up, as you might expect, but the big one is key passes have almost doubled to 2 per 90 from 1.2. His pass accuracy is up as well, so linking play really well. So his WhoScored rating as a centre forward is 7.99, which is outstanding. From a wide forward this season, 7.11. So yeah, I just feel like with Firmino, obviously the link-up play is ridiculously good. The finishing isn't there. Jota, perhaps the other way around. His finishing's taken everyone by surprise. But I think Liverpool fans still feel that sometimes the game breaks down a little bit when he gets involved.
Yeah, I can say that. I like him aerially as well.
He doesn't have that many touches when he plays that role, whereas Mane is. So yeah, just the initial iteration of Mane as a centre forward, I think he looks like he looks unreal, because I think when they signed Luis Diaz, everyone was like, that's bye-bye for Mane. I think he's out of contract next summer. He's just turned 30. He'd dipped in form for the last probably like 18 months or so. Wasn't at his best, but I think maybe that signing has just given him a kick up the backside, and he's looks frightening again. Looks really, really good.
Yeah, I've always said he's the best option at number 9 and the stats back it up. Nice to say. But Julian, it's not actually the first time Mane's moved position, is it? Because his first season at Liverpool, I think he played most of the season on the right-hand side and did very well. Then Salah came in and he moved to the left, and suddenly Mane was one of the best left-sided players in the world. And now, like Martin says, he's doing bits as a number 9.
Yeah, incredible. I actually thought that in the City game, he would start him in that role as well. And he did really well, and Jota scored 2. I agree with Martin, though. It's a very different Liverpool team with Jota in that central position, because he doesn't have the similar link-up play and involvement. Really, he's more of a purely finisher, and he does that great, but it's very different than when Mane starts there. I think winning AFCON was huge in terms of momentum, but for Mane as well. To Senegal had never won it before, of course, famously. For him, as their marquee player, to do it the way he did it, score that penalty, of course, in the shootout, and then to also qualify them for the World Cup, almost back to back, has been huge in terms of confidence, to boost the momentum, all of that. And I think he's carried that with Liverpool. When Salah, for example, on the other way around, struggled very much with the 2 defeats against Senegal. And great. I'm with Martin. I didn't expect him to be that good in that position. I have to say, okay, I know he can hold the ball up, because as a winger playing for Liverpool, this is what you often receive the ball with your back to goal, with the other team's right back behind you. So you have to be able to hold the ball, and your first touch has to be great. But it's different to do it as a left winger than as a centre forward with huge centre backs behind you. And he's been so good at it. Not just the ball for Salah in the United game, and again, playing against Phil Jones will be easy for a lot of us, but still, I think it's everything. You could serve him with his back to goal, and he will bonify the ball. And I think this is a huge asset now to have for Klopp for the end of the season and for this game. If I was an Everton defender or centre back especially, like, I would not welcome Mane starting as a 9.
I think we've just done 5 minutes on Mane. I've actually got a feeling he'll get rested against Everton and probably won't play. But yeah. He's doing very, very well, that's for sure. I mean, I was worried for Manchester United going into their game against Liverpool, Martin. Potentially, I'm even more worried about Everton, the worst away team in the league. I know they went to Anfield and won last season, which feels like it was a million years ago. But there is absolutely no chance that happens this time around.
No, well, you have to look at the team that Liverpool were playing. They had so many problems with that. I think it was Kabak and Henderson started at centre back in that game. Henderson went off injured. Phillips came on, so that was when they were in real trouble.
And no fans as well.
Yeah, exactly. A big part. And Everton played a back 5 in that game, and I think that's their only option here, surely. They've only got 1 point from their last 11 away games, which bizarrely was at Stamford Bridge, and they played a back 5 in that game. So I think that's the only option. Calvert-Lewin's out, so it'll be Richarlison leading the line, pretty lonely role up front. But I think Anthony Gordon will be the one who's tasked with sort of supporting him, and he's been a bright spot for Everton in a tough season. And Lampard's been pretty gutsy with some of his calls. I think dropping Doucouré was a big one, and starting Alex Iwobi in midfield ahead of Doucouré. That's bold, but it's paid off to an extent. Delph coming back in, so yeah, he's made some big calls. But yeah, I'd be amazed if it wasn't a back 5 for this one with Yerry Mina back now as well. I feel like that's the only way they can go, really.
Let's go round the houses then. How many trophies are Liverpool going to win this season, Julian?
Wow, that's a good question. So one is already, we know one at least. At least we know one for sure. I've said now since January that they will win the league. I really think they've got so much momentum, and City are amazing, of course. There's something about this Liverpool team I think that is extra special, really. So I would go for 2 with the league as well. The FA Cup, I think they can beat Chelsea, especially Chelsea with the issues that we've explained before. So that's 3. And then the big one is the 4th one. And I think especially if they've won the league and, if they've had that sort of incredible title run towards the end with City, I can see City just coming back and beat them in the final. I think it will be a City-Liverpool Champions League final in Paris. And I think City will. So I'll say 3.
3. Martin?
Yeah, I've gone for 3 as well, but I've gone switch. I think City will win the league and Liverpool will win the Champions League. But yeah, I can't see Liverpool not beating Chelsea in the FA Cup, and I think they'll win one of the other 2. So yeah, I would say 3. And what an achievement that would be! Incredible.
I'm gonna go 4.
Wow.
Yeah. Why not?
You're the host.
They just are incredible. They don't ever look like they're going to lose a game ever again. They're so good. They've got so many options. They can play any combination in the front 3, and it will be one of the most dangerous combinations in Europe. I just think that's their advantage now. As long as they don't get any injuries at the back, and Fabinho is very important to that as well. I just don't see them slipping up. The league's the iffy one, isn't it? Because quite easily both those teams could just win every game, and if that happens, then Manchester City will win the league. But yeah, I just think they're one of the most incredible sides I've ever seen in my life, and I love watching them.
Can we ask Klopp, because I know he's a big listener? Maybe, as you know, we all love Jordan Henderson. It's a great story. He's a great guy. He's lovely, great leader. I give him that, captain, but not in big games. In big games, he can go from the bench. He can have a rest. He can come on. He can play and come on for the last 10, 15 minutes, and then start the next game against rubbish team. But please. I think we're beginning to see the end of Jordan Henderson. I think he'll be phased out slowly over the next sort of year or so. He'll be 32, I think, by the time the new season starts. And it's already happened at England level, hasn't it? And he was unlucky in that sense because he was one of the first names on the team sheet, got injured. Rice and Phillips came in, and those 2 look like the 2 now with Bellingham there as well. Yeah. So I don't see much of a future for him at England. I think he'll have next season at Liverpool. But then emotional return to rejuvenated Sunderland
I thought Henderson had a really good first half of the season, and he's perhaps tailed off a little bit in the second half of the season.
I think it doesn't help when you're playing alongside an informed Thiago that you are always going to look a second-rate player by comparison, and that's not his fault. Like he's never going to be that level. But when you've got someone playing that well, and Fabinho as well, who's an elite level destroyer, so to speak, in there, he's clearly the sort of weakest of the three, while still being a very, very good player.
Yeah,
just one of those things.
I've heard a lot of whispers in recent weeks about Bellingham to Liverpool in the summer. Heard a lot. So there's
your replacement there.
Let's see what happens with that. Predictions then for this one: Liverpool v Everton. Who scored, guys?
4-0 to Everton.
4-0.
No, not really. Liverpool.
Yeah, I've gone 4-0 to Liverpool as well. Exactly the same. Julian.
Wow. Just to be a bit different, because I think that Liverpool players will have pity of Everton, so they'll stop at 3. I think after 3, Klopp is going to say, like, come on, let's just pass the ball around now, make them run. It's going to be fun. The crowd will say, every time there's a pass, they will cheer, and then they stop at 3.
Yeah, we were going to do a combined 11, but after we'd done, we decided that
the ratio. There's no ratio.
No
one makes the squad.
Even the 7th team that we did was Liverpool's under 12. So yeah, we couldn't do it. No Everton players made it in. An old favourite's back, Martin. It's bookings bingo. Tell us more.
Yeah, so we pick out 3 players to be carded in the game. Surprise, surprise, we haven't gone for any Liverpool players to be carded. All Everton. Liverpool don't get booked in general. Everton will, obviously they're under real pressure now after that Burnley win in midweek, so they're going to have to put up a fight here, and the only way they can unsettle Liverpool is probably by literally putting up a fight.
Can I have a guess?
So yeah,
you
can have a guess.
You'll come close. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, Michael Keane, surely.
Yeah, he was my first one. Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, he was the first one I was going to say. Yeah.
We haven't got him.
Really?
Wow, okay.
He was my first one.
Got 3.
Delph.
No.
Yeah.
No, we could have done 5. Look,
Alan,
not there either. I feel like the entire we've done it based on, obviously we have to try and get good odds. So
Coleman?
we've looked for value. Yes, Seamus Coleman is one of them, potentially up against Luis Diaz or anyone. To be fair, could have a tough game wherever he's playing. He's only been booked more times against Man City and Chelsea than Liverpool in his career. So yeah, Coleman is one.
Richarlison?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Charlison loves it. Yeah. Feisty boy. More cards than goals this season. 8 cards, 7 goals. Like I said, very hot-headed, and he will have a frustrating game, I think, playing up front on his own. So we're going Richarlison for the second one, and the third may be tough.
I'm just going to, he's a stab in the dark. I don't think it will be him. Mikalenko.
Jordan Pickford, because a 0-0 after 25 minutes is going to take forever to take it.
Could do. We're making a case for all 11 players.
They could all get booked, couldn't they? They could all get booked.
We've gone for a returning Yerry Mina to get booked. We've got 3 bookings this season, despite not playing much. He's played 1,000 less minutes this season than he managed last season due to injury. Another sort of, I don't mean to be stereotypical, but hot-headed South American up against Sadio Mane, who is a handful. So yeah, we've got Richarlison, Mina, and Seamus Coleman to get booked. That was 29-1, boosted to 35-1 by BetVictor.
And my worry there would be Coleman might not play.
Yeah, he played in the week. I think he's back fit. If he's fit, he'll play in a game like this. Sure,
I'm going to do my own. Watch out, BetVictor.
You're going to do your own. The other 8 players.
Michael Caine's got to be in there. He's been the same training school as Harry Maguire this season. The Columbia school. Michael Caine. He's got to be in there for me. We move on now to the just a minute section. And Martin, you're going to go first. It's Leicester v Aston Villa. Minute to depress me. Off we go.
Leicester have been patchy all season with a European finish out of the question in the league. It'll be interesting to see whether Brendan Rodgers has one eye on a tournament he'd never heard of at the start of the year. The Foxes host Roma in the week in the UEFA Conference League. The winners of that tournament obviously earn a place in Europe next season in the Europa League. So they may rotate a little bit. They're still without Ndidi and Jamie Vardy. Feels like an age since Villa last played. Defeat to Spurs being the club's 17th defeat of the season. Only Norwich and Watford have suffered more. The break has at least allowed Marvellous Nakamba to return to full fitness. His last full 90 minutes came in the reverse fixture in December. The team benefited from his superior defensive discipline when Gerrard took the reins. but it's a position where the club are desperate to improve. And Gerrard and co went to watch Marseille's Boubacar Kamara in the week. Come on, guys, get it done. After a slow start at the King Power this season, Leicester have been excellent at home of late. They've lost just 1-1-10 of their last 14 as hosts. Last 5 games have followed a pattern of Villa to win, Leicester, Villa, Leicester, Villa. So it's Leicester's turn. And after scoring in the week, Harvey Barnes is one for your fantasy teams. He's got 4 in 4 against Villa. So we're going 2-1 Leicester.
I've gone exactly the same. And I barely ever predict Villa to lose, but I just don't see anything this weekend at all. Julien, what have you gone for?
1-1. I do think that, at some point Villa will get something.
We'll get a point.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be too in with you because, it's before the weekend. I don't want you to have a bad weekend. So, 1-1, which is better than losing, obviously.
Well, that's Villa's problem. They don't draw games.
Yeah.
Or they lose.
Draw.
They've only drawn 3 all season. I think a draw would be... I'd celebrate a draw like a victory nowadays just to see one because I don't know what they feel like. Right, the first one you're going to look at, Julien, is Man City v Watford.
So, man, I'm sorry, it's not as scripted as Martin. Again, I didn't get the memo. Like, otherwise, I would have.
Don't worry, I cheat. I cheat. I'm a cheat. Don't worry.
The bad news for Watford is that they're actually playing Manchester City because City have won. Yeah, and they are Watford. You're right. Yeah. City won the last 14 games against Watford. I think in the last 2, the average score, the aggregate score is 16-0. So I think we're going to see a lot of goals only scored by Man City. Ruben Dias is back, which again is bad news for Watford. And City, even if you could say they're not always at their best, and we saw that against Brighton, where it took them quite a bit of time to get going. A game like this at the Etihad as well, I don't think there's any chance for Watford, who've lost 5 out of the last 6 Premier League matches. So it's going to be big for City. If you like your fantasy players, I think Phil Foden and players like that, Kevin De Bruyne, are going to shine. I go 4-0 to City.
I've gone for exactly the same, 4-0 to Manchester City.
Full house. Yeah, full house.
I like that we're able to talk about fantasy football.
I knew you'd bring that up. I knew you'd bring that. Dan wants fantasy football in this podcast.
I want a segment. Jonathan doesn't like it. He won't let us talk about it.
I'm in for that. It's just that Martin mentioned it, so I thought, okay, I'll go as well.
Yeah, that's all I had. I'm sorry, Dan. I don't have any more.
I like just to blow my own trumpet a little bit, I did the official fantasy football podcast for the first time last week, and I called the Ronaldo as captain. And did it?
Well done.
I looked like an expert on my first time.
I still won't have you back.
No, I'll be back. Don't you worry about that, Martin. Martin, you're going to look at Norwich v Newcastle for us.
Yeah, if you can't beat Man United, what hope have you got, really? So exactly. After a mini revival, Norwich are all but doomed. This is certainly a must-win home game against a side that, despite their improved form at home, have lost their last 3 on the road. Canaries have no fresh injury concerns and could welcome back Brandon Williams after he was ineligible against Man United. Timu Pukki scored a hat-trick in this fixture the last meeting at Carrow Road and has found some form at a crucial time, but it's probably too little too late. Newcastle's win in midweek was their 6th in succession at St James's Park. That matches a feat last achieved by Sir Bobby Robson, so a hell of an achievement. The win means that only Liverpool have earned more points in 2022 than Newcastle, which is a remarkable turnaround by Eddie Howe, who took the reins with the club winless in 11 at the start of the season. Guimaraes shone once again in the week, and after a slow integration into the team, he's now the first name on the team sheet. While the transformation of Joe Ellington into a bustling all-action midfielder is one of my favourite elements of this season, what a masterstroke. Bizarrely, Newcastle haven't won away at Norwich since 1994. While it won't be his best achievement at the club, Howe should put an end to that. So we're going 1-0, narrow Newcastle win.
Yeah, I've gone for 2-1 away win to Newcastle. Julien?
2-0 for Newcastle.
2-0.
Bruno Guimaraes is very cheap on fantasy football as well. So
I was starting to think about that as you were talking about.
Very cheap.
My friend captained him for the double game week that just gone.
Oh, lovely stuff.
2 and assisted 1 over the 2 games. So well done to him.
Yeah, what a decision that was.
Yeah.
Brentford v Tottenham then. Julien, the Christian Eriksen derby. This one, big game, emotional game for Christian Eriksen.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And the best thing I think about the Eriksen, I don't know, comeback, I don't know how you want to call it, miracle really, is that Brentford have been unbeaten since he was there. They've won 5 out of the last 6. He's been great, whether it's in creativity or the goals or the assists that he obviously brought. It's against his former club, as you said, is the Eriksen derby. It's written somewhere because Spurs are so Spursy that Eriksen is going to score the winner this weekend against his former team. There's a few defensive issues and worries, I think, for Brentford with Zonka and Pinnock doubtful, maybe out. So we could see Sorensen again playing with Jensen at the back, or maybe a little change and shuffle defensively. Doherty is obviously the big miss for Spurs. And that injury, I think, really hurt them. We saw that against Brighton. Even if Sessegnon could come back and maybe replace Reguilon, it's not the same when Emerson Royal plays and not Doherty. I mean, if only Spurs could play Villa every week, really, because I'm not sure if
everyone could play Villa every week.
I mean, I had to. I'm not sure if I'm going to come back on this show, so I thought I had to make a joke about Villa. If only they could, because they were outstanding. And Hugo Lloris probably had his best game. You would expect another game where I think Spurs will have a lot of the ball, but I think could be in danger on the counter-attack of Mbomo and Tony and Eriksen for Brentford. So very interesting game. I've gone for a draw this one, 2-2.
I've done exactly the same, 2-2. Martin?
So have we, 2-2.
Really?
All in agreement. Also, we've got a little boost on the Eriksen factor. We asked Bet Victor to boost Eriksen to score from outside the box. Since he made his Premier League debut, he's got 23 goals from outside the box. That's more than any other player. That's been boosted from 12 to 16 to 1 on Eriksen to score from outside the box against his old club. So a little emotional bet there. I'll be on that one.
Yeah, and he's in my fantasy football team. You'll be pleased. Brighton v Southampton then, Martin.
Yeah, after wins over Arsenal and Tottenham, a trip to the Etihad was a bridge too far for Brighton, who are probably not looking forward to returning home after 3 straight away days. The Seagulls boast the 7th best away record in the division, but rank 18th on home soil. They've not won in 7 at home. Basuma faces the second of a 2-match ban. It's a big loss. He won the race to 10 bookings this season from just 22 appearances. While Potter will be hoping Leandro Trossard is back following illness, he's the only player to score more than once for Brighton since the 2nd of January. Southampton's 2-0 defeat at Burnley means they've now lost 5 of their last 7 games. While the top half finish is still well within their grasp, it's been a season of stasis, really, for Saints. In a bid to shake things up, Hasenhüttl experimented with the back 3 at Turf Moor. 2 down at the break, ditched that straight away, so we should see a 4-4-2 with the likes of Salisu, Livramento, Redmond and Adams all in line to return. There's never been a home win in 9 Premier League meetings between these sides, with Saints winning each of the last 4 at the Annex. Saying that, we're not going to go for a home win, but we're going to go for a 1-1 draw.
I knew that home win stat, so I went Brighton 0, Southampton 1. Julian, what have you predicted?
You definitely didn't.
No, I didn't.
I've gone Brighton to win, 2-1.
2-1. I feel like Brighton haven't won at home for a very long time. I could be completely wrong there with what I'm saying, but it feels like they have struggled at home generally this season. Julian, your last one to look at is Burnley versus Wolves. When
we mentioned Josh Thiago Brownhill at the start of the show, by the 4 points that Burnley just won under Michael Jackson with the draw against West Ham, which was really good, could have been even better, and that win against Southampton, which was quite impressive in the way they almost dominate and control the game, really. So this is a very interesting one. Another home game as well, back-to-back home games. And they're just 1 point behind Everton, considering, as we've explained before, that Everton are going to be smashed at Liverpool. Yeah. And this is a big game for Burnley, and a game that you think they will respond well and really go for it. Wolves can still clinch 7th place, of course, although you feel they are a little bit on holidays. Again, they win, they lose, they win. Not going to mention Aston Villa here. But yeah, so I've gone for Burnley win. Now we win 1-0. And again, Josh Thiago Brownhill, who wants to be in the team of the week next week as well, should have an absolutely world-class game.
I've gone for 1-0 to Burnley as well. I'm slightly worried Burnley might catch Villa at the moment.
I'm slightly worried Norwich might catch Villa.
Everything you say, you've had already. So I don't know if you knew before what I'm going to say as my prediction.
I don't know what's going on. No, I am worried about Burnley. Villa have got to play Burnley twice as well.
Twice, yeah.
I'm slightly concerned. I shouldn't be, but I am. Martin, what have you predicted?
We've gone for 1-1 in this game.
1-1. Thank you very much. And your last one to look at is Palace v Leeds, the Monday night football. Crystal Palace only playing a Monday in the Premier League now. I'm convinced of that. Yeah, Palace v Leeds.
Yeah, Palace have now lost 3 on the spin, perhaps exacerbated an ankle injury for Michael Olise in the week. The youngster is likely to miss out. Conor Gallagher looked out of sorts at Newcastle, having been forced to watch the FA Cup semi-final from the stands. So James McArthur will hope to return in midfield along with Eberechi Eze. Leeds fans will have had to wait 16 days for this game to come around since that win at Watford that all but secured their Premier League status, I think. They've picked up 10 points from the last 12 and are likely to hand a first start since December to fit again Calvin Phillips. Captain Liam Cooper is also back up to speed. Bamford remains sidelined, so youngster Sam Greenwood could get a start here with Dan James now on a run of 10 games without a goal. His last 2 goals, of course, against Aston Villa. Leeds away games have seen the most in the division this season, with an average of 3.6 per game. Palace home games have averaged over 2.6, so this should be an entertaining game under the lights. Since both sides were reunited in the Premier League last season, all 3 meetings have been won by the home side, but we expect that trend to come to an end. So we're going to go for another Leeds win, 2-1.
I've gone 1-1. Julian?
Well, I was a bit torn. I kept changing, and first I gave a Leeds win, then I was not too sure to convince. So in the end, sorry, I'm waffling, but yeah, 1-1 draw. It's boring.
Same as me again. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But I'm liking what both those managers are doing at the moment, Vieira and Marsh. Probably be a decent game on Monday night. Martin, we have a Sunday 2 p.m. treble.
We do indeed. So it kicks off with Burnley against Wolves. We've gone for both teams to score no. Only 2 of Burnley's last 10 home games have seen both teams to score, and only 2 of Wolves' last 11 games have seen both teams to score on the road. So we're not predicting that one to be a high-scoring affair. A game that you do think will be full of goals, Dan. Chelsea against West Ham. You're going for over 3.5 goals in that game, aren't you?
Yeah, I think I did over 3.5 for Brentford Chelsea, and it came in, didn't it? We got all 3 that week, and that was very fortunate because I was not expecting Brentford to be the ones that provided all the goals.
Yeah, so that landed in 5 of Chelsea's last 6 matches. They've been very free-scoring games between Chelsea of late. Their home league matches in 2022 are averaging more than 3.5 goals per game. So that's the second leg. And then Brighton against Southampton. We've gone for Southampton to win or draw. Southampton are actually unbeaten in 10 of their last 11 games at Brighton. So that is Burnley Wolves, both teams to score no. Chelsea versus West Ham over 3.5. And Brighton Southampton Saints double chance, so win or draw. That's been boosted to what was an already industry leading 8-1 to 10-1, so a much better price than you'll find elsewhere there from BetVictor. So thank you very much for all their boosts as usual. Gamble responsibly if you're going to be having a flutter this weekend.
Is this a chance to go 2 in a row? Was that the last time we did it? The time it came in?
Potentially, yeah, for the trebles, yeah.
Chance to go 2 in a row. We've not had too many chances.
Occasionally, we get some winners. We do get some winners.
Oh no, we've had winners, but I don't think we've got a treble. I don't think we've got the treble.
The trebles aren't generally that successful. No.
This is our chance. This is where we shine. We're gonna have a good end to the season as well, like Eddie and Ketia. And that is the end of the show. Thanks ever so much for coming on with us today, Julian. We really appreciate it. Not sure if you'll be on again because there's been a little bit too much Villa bashing.
I'm sorry.
For my liking. We'll let you on when PSG win the Champions League, so you'll be on in 20 years' time. We'll let you on. But, thanks to Martin as well for coming on, and thanks to everyone for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel with your post notifications on. Let's get those subscriber numbers up. Have a great weekend. Enjoy all the football and stay safe.